Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this very exciting segment on Air Mix. And today we are going to be talking about Brand Bollywood Down Under. That's correct. And I was fortunate enough to attend the Canberra, the premiere in the Federal Parliament. And it was a very good event. We will look at that in a minute as well. But let's take a look at what all this is about. So what is all this about? Let's take a quick look at that and see for ourselves. And that's Anupam Kher. Do you like the resemblance there? So Canberra, the capital of Australia, and that's where the premiere of Bollywood Down Under took place, and it's a beautiful, that building never ceases to amaze. So what is Brand Bollywood Down Under? It's directed by Anupam Sharma and produced by Forum Films. Brand Bollywood Down Under is an engaging, witty and informative Australian love letter to the well-liked Hindi cinema, probably known as Bollywood, and refers to the film based in Mumbai in India. Now in the movie, the Anupam Kher is interviewed, and he said he hates the word Bollywood, but it is how it has evolved. It is captivatingly publicized as an entertaining and informative insight into the Bollywoodization and globalization of Indian cinema through its 89-year-old love affair with Australia. So, director Anupam Sharma was born in Ajmer, Rajasthan, my ancestral state, and moved to Australia to pursue a bachelor's degree in Masters in Film and Theatre from the University of New South Wales. He is acknowledged as a producer who has pioneered film links between India and Australia since 1997. So there you are. Delve beneath the colourful exterior of Hollywood's biggest rival is this feature-length documentary which provides a rare insider's view of the brass arts and the farce of Bollywood's inner workings as a global scale. Its glitz, glamour, and magic and glory is brought to you by the cross-cultural film team, widely credited with the major influence on the growth of ties between Australia and Indian film industries. So that's the underlying theme in there. This write-up, in fact, which I'm reading is written by Rama Gain, who is a regular correspondent of Brisbane Indian Times. These are her words. A film is a celebration of Bollywood cinema and its expansion in an international entertainment giant. See parts the myths and legends that surround the industry and witness Bollywood reality, something far more entertaining than any fictional tale. In what is sometimes hilarious, witness the clash of filmmaking cultures as Brand Bollywood explores the successes and failures of Bollywood's rise as a serious subculture in Australia and, for that matter, around the world. So it's interesting to see how the team India works, and when we look at Australia, CLB right, mate, and our regulations and everything, when you put the two together, trying to work together, it's very hilarious that in the movie you'll find out why some people got their visas rejected, because they were part of the film crew, but all they would be doing is holding an umbrella or serving tea. So, that is quite normal and quite okay in India. But in Australia, they say, mate, you can make your own tea. So, a bridge across 1897 to 2023, this musical features, amuses, diverts, and is an enjoyable expose. It was in the late 1990s that the outrageous, colourful, and musical Bollywood cruise first descended on the Australian landscape and fascinated locals around the country. Yes, we remember that. More than just novel entertainment, Bollywood brought serious money to Australia and Australian shores, and the industry quickly became a darling of the tourism, trade, and educational bodies. Beneath the glitz and glamour is a roller coaster tale of normally dry, politicians bending over backwards to try and lure the industry to Australia. From announcing considerable film subsidies to premiers performing cameos in dance sequences. In Australia and West, Brand Bollywood pays homage to the in-style film industry and subgroup of Bollywood in form and in content. It features interviews of icons of Hindi cinema along with the rare behind the scenes of Bollywood stars filming. The picturesque locations including iconic Australian cities, India, France, UK and Switzerland. So all of that, and it is worthwhile watching. So when we look at Bollywood versus Hollywood, Bollywood is older than Hollywood, having started in 1899, 11 years before the birth of Hollywood. Bollywood represents the vibrant Indian film industry, reflecting the culture, tradition and society issues of India. On the other hand, Hollywood is an epitome of American cinema with its focus on high-quality productions and universal influences. Bollywood produces around 1,500 to 2,000 films every year in more than 20 languages, which is double the output of Hollywood. So if you look at, say, Dil Chahta Hai, Love Story 2015, Deewane and Hey Baby, these are among the films shot in Australia. Providing collaboration between Australia and India can be a success. As a Sydney-based Anupam Sharma articulates in 2016, Line is the perfect example of the two countries working together in such a beautiful way. Line featured Dev Patel as an Indian boy adopted by an Australian couple played by Nicole Kidman and David Wenham. And of course, we know Dev Patel very well. I interviewed him on this channel when he featured in Slumdog Millionaire. Brand Bollywood is directed and written by Anupam Sharma. The run he has done un-Indian and co-written and edited by Kareen Steinager, Remember Anne Frank. According to Sharma, this film has been a culmination of 23 years of working with Bollywood as one of the first Indian-born Australian film graduates. It is my answer to all the questions about Bollywood I have had to answer, trying to explain the different film culture, and that can be quite interesting because the two cultures, the way, the modus operandi of the two countries is always different. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now, let's take a look at some of the events that took place at the launch of that, and that's Anupam Kher there as well. And Hey Baby. The Capitol Hill in Canberra as we approach the Parliament House for the launch, and this site never ceases to amaze. It is always beautiful as you go up the steps, and then on the right is the theatre, and on the other side is the Senate. And when you look at the Senate, it's so wonderful to see a lot of Queenslanders and their names there, and that's Anupam Sharma there with Brisbane Indian Times, together with Marisa, and that's the House of Reps and everyone in there, as you can see. That's a lot of all our politicians there, the team, Brand and of course Screen Canberra there as well as a collaborative, and it was good to see the minister will come in there, and of course well, look at that. The Brand Bollywood wouldn't be Bollywood wouldn't be Bollywood until it was all with Indian costumes there as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now let's take a look at the launch itself.
Thank you. Oh, we both have one.
Yes, please. That's our producer, Claire.
And that's Minister Charlton MP, the host. Minister for Parramatta.
Which camera?
With a lot of cameras there, it could be hard to see which one.
Taller than the rest of us, I think, anyway, so it's not really a surprise anymore. But first, I'd just like to welcome you to this screening here in Canberra at Parliament House. We are obviously very excited to be here for what is a really exciting screening celebrating Bollywood, the Australian India culture, and the bilateral relationship. Before we begin, I'd like to commence by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land with which we stand today, a very grand place in Parliament where we are today. We obviously are in a very special year and a difficult year in a referendum year which, whilst unsuccessful, reminds us all that whilst we celebrate our culture, things like cinema, Australia-India bilateral relationships, we do it on Indigenous land, and we all have a responsibility to be taking that relationship further forward in our own individual capacities, regardless of that result. So in celebrating that Australia-India bilateral relationship, we are very, very fortunate to have a very special guest to welcome us all here, someone who is probably the most appropriate person to talk about the Australia-India bilateral relationship and what Anupam's film is all about, what we're all here to see. Andrew Charlton, MP, member for Parramatta, is someone that is no stranger to most of us. He is someone that is absolutely in love with the Australia-India relationship, to the extent that in his first year of Parliament, he's already released a book on Australia's pivot to India. A book that covers his own academic knowledge about India whilst also talking about the diaspora's relationship in increasing that bilateral relationship and making the most of that advantage for Australia and India. We're obviously very fortunate to have someone who, has made Little India happen in Parramatta and Harris Park. Someone who really cares and understands this relationship and is no stranger to Bollywood, having danced to Kala Chashma not too long ago. I've seen videos of it. He's done a phenomenal job in that sense. So, ladies and gentlemen, in welcoming us to this really special event, a really special screening from a really special person to the Australian community, but the Australian community especially, I'd like to give a warm welcome and introduce you to Andrew Charlton, member for Parramatta.
Well, thank you very much, Kishal. Your introductions are always very warm and always very hard to follow because you're such a tremendous speaker. And I know how much you've supported this film. And I want to thank everybody for being here. This is such an exciting year for the Australia-India relationship. This year, when Prime Minister Modi came to Australia, he became the first Prime Minister to visit Australia twice. And when Anthony Albanese went to India in September, he became the first Australian Prime Minister to visit India twice in 1 year. And this year we have had so much diplomatic activity. We've had, I think last time I checked it was 13 visits from Australian ministers to India, although that number I'm looking at, that number has probably gone up since I last looked at it. It has been an extraordinary year of bilateral relations. In fact, just over the next couple of weeks, we have both the Foreign Minister and the Defence Minister travelling to India for the 2+2 dialogue. All of this augurs well for a very warm and positive relationship between Australia and India, which has been on an upswing for the last several decades, and now is reaching a point which I think we can confidently say Australia's relationship with India is better than it has ever been at any time in our history of bilateral relations, which is an extraordinary achievement and very important for the future of our two nations. One thing that complements all that diplomatic activity, though, of course, is the cultural and people-to-people links. And that's why I'm so enthusiastic about this film and what it represents. The shining a light on the artistic relationship, the cultural relationship between Australia and India. And from the parts of the film that I've seen, it does a brilliant job of that. It doesn't pull any punches. It's very raw and honest about its view of some of the elements of that cultural relationship. But I think that level of honesty is also an important hallmark of a genuine friendship, a genuine relationship. So I'm thrilled with the success of this film, and I'm thrilled with what it means for collaboration, what it means for the future of the Australian film industry and its partnership with India. And I hope that if we remake this film in 10 years' time, which I'm I'm going to extract a commitment from Anupam that he will do. We will look back on a decade in which the artistic, cultural and film relationship between Australia and India have gone from strength to strength off the back of the energy in the bilateral relationship, the energy in the Indian diaspora in Australia, and the enthusiasm of Australians for our relationship with India today. So thank you all for being here. Congratulations to everybody that has been involved in this project. I really think it's an important element of what has been a fantastic year, and I look forward to its success as it continues. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
To follow suit from that, I think that if we are going to be making a film in 10 years' time, well, I know I'm not a filmmaker, I'm a lawyer, my job's far more boring. But I think that if a film is made in 10 years' time about the Australia-India relationship and Bollywood as well, you'll probably not see a great heroine in a lotus, but probably Andrew Charlton's face kind of being like, I'm front and centre of the Australian-India bilateral relationship, because we are.
That would depict some dark times.
We're very, very fortunate to have leaders like Andrew and, you know, and a parliament and a government that is really, really supportive of that relationship, and we are grateful and really excited as Indians and Australian Indians to see where that comes. So obviously we are grateful for Andrew's advocacy in that space. I personally highly recommend reading his book, Australia's Pivot to India. I think it speaks a lot to the Australian Indian experience in particular. So we're very grateful to Andrew, and thank you for your time and making this possible to be able to host a film that Anu has worked very hard on for the last, for a good while. I think a COVID baby it was, as he describes it. So in speaking of Anupam and the director of this film, I'd now like to welcome him to give a short, quick thanks before we get in there and everyone watches what promises to be, I'm sure, a wonderful film. So over to you, Anupam.
Thank you, Dr. Charlton. Your leadership has been amazing, and jokes aside, I sincerely hope that what you started with your book, with your leadership, with screenings like these, goes a long way, particularly, you know, a $60 million+ worth of Australian screen content at the moment, which is in various stages of productions, which are all India-centric. So we hope to have you in more than just a cameo, which Mike Rand did in the film. Welcome. It's a very cozy screening, and that's partly because of a bucket list item which all Indian Australians have, to talk about India and Australia in the seat of power, Canberra, partly because of the generosity of Dr. Charlton. It's the first day today and you've taken time out, and partly because as a filmmaker I wanted select guests to see it on the big screen. So that's why we've got the biggest screen and the biggest theatre possible with Dolby sound. We hope you like the film. There'll be Q&A at the end. I'm informed that there are more execs and high commission staff on their way because it's 5 o'clock, so most of them will be here. And thank you once again. And I particularly acknowledge my producer here, Claire, my supervising DOP, Kaz, where is he? There he is. And also the special presence of CEO of Oz Film along with Head of Policy, Patrick and Kate, and Holly, the new CEO of Screen Canberra, and Dr. Sanjay Senanaike, author, doctor, and infectious diseases expert we know from TV for the last 2 years. Welcome everybody. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. That was the launch, and Brand Bollywood is directed by Anupam Sharma, and as you have heard from him just there, and it's been written and edited by Corinne Steniger from Remember Anne Franks. And according to Sharma, this film has been a culmination of 23 years of working with Bollywood as one of the first Indian-born Australian film graduate. It was his answer to all the questions about Bollywood that he's trying to explain the difference between the culture. Sharma produced the film alongside Claire Haywood, who has done Territory Cops, Pink House, and Dipti Sachdeva from The Run. And executive producers Lisa Duff from Un Indian and Cheney Barnes from Down River. Many well-known names in the Indian entertainment industry are featured, generously given up their times for the clips to support this Australian celebration of Bollywood on a worldwide stage. The title include Sajid Nadiawala, Anupam Kher, Salim Merchant, I. Catherine, Akash Khurana, Amit Khanna, Apurva Lakia, Asim Bajaj, Asutosh Kavekar, Deepthi Sachdeva, Dr. Amit Sarwal, Dr. Vikrant Kishore, Fadeen Firoz Khan, Aram Akhtar, Harman Baweja, Zalil Mistry, Kunal Kapoor, Leena Yadav, Maithili Rao, Manpreet Singh, Meenakshi Sede, Nasreem Muni Kabir, Natrajan Ramji, Ritesh Sidhwani, Samir Nair, Sabir Wahid, Srada Subramaniam, SMM, Sonia Gandhi, Susadhananga, Vipul Amrutral Shah, and Vivek Vaswani. Considered to be one of the finest actors in the cinema, Anupam Kher is also a director and producer. He discloses Indian cinema is the richest cinema in the world. We do the most unbelievable things which makes 1.2 billion people very happy. We don't sell misery of life, we celebrate life. We are larger than life. Very well said. So Brand Bollywood Down Under is now screening in cinemas Australia-wide. So I would highly recommend that you go and see that movie and that documentary. It is beautifully done, and you will be pleasantly surprised and amused at some of the behind the scenes and some of the things that the producers, directors, and our politicians have to go through. And well done, Anupam, on the premiere at the Parliament House. And as you mentioned, that is one of the bucket list. So ladies and gentlemen, until tomorrow, it's goodbye from us.